Is Putin losing the war? Here are all the estimated Russian losses. It's unclear how much of the Russian army has been affected by the war. Vladimir Putin is still claiming that his war against Ukraine is going to plan, but a breakdown of the losses suggests otherwise. While the Russian army has turned its attention towards the east of Ukraine in recent days, where the Kremlin hoped victory would come more easily, the target country's forces are still fighting back valiantly. On Thursday, the Russian Defense Ministry even admitted that its flagship Black Sea missile cruiser, a key symbol of the invasion which led the naval assault on Ukraine, was seriously damaged and the entire crew have been evacuated. However, Russia has only attributed this to an unexplained fire, and claims the ship was still afloat. Ukraine alleges that it had targeted the boat with missiles, and that it even appeared to sink at one point. Neither claim has been verified as yet, but both stories add to the growing speculation that war is not going in Russia's direction. And that's not the only indication that all is not well in the Russian camp. The UK's Ministry of Defence tweeted on Wednesday that Russia's plan in Ukraine is failing, pointing out that at least 6 Russian generals have been killed in action during the conflict. There is also evidence that Russian soldiers are turning on and attacking their commanders. It claims that 2,151 Russian vehicles, artillery pieces and aircraft have been damaged, abandoned, destroyed or captured, over 3 times that of Ukraine. Units have been forced to return to Belarus, the European country which is Moscow's main ally, as well as Russia, to reorganize and resupply. There have also been reports that Russian soldiers have accidentally shot down their own aircraft. The MOD has continually indicated that Russia is not in an ideal position through its daily updates over the last 7 weeks. On Thursday, it pointed out that the widespread missile and artillery strike, along with efforts to concentrate forces for an offensive in eastern Ukraine, will require significant force levels, a difficult feat considering the losses it has sustained so far. It added, Ukraine's continued defense of Mariupol is currently typing down significant numbers of Russian troops and equipment. The Kyiv Independent also published an update on how much the Ukrainian armed forces believes Russia has lost since the war began in February: around 19,900 troops, 160 planes, 144 helicopters, 753 tanks, 366 artillery pieces, 1,968 armored personnel carriers, 4 mobile SRBM systems, 122 MLRs, 7 boats, 1,437 vehicles, 76 fuel tanks, 134 UAV, 64 anti-aircraft warcraft, 25 special equipment. However, Igor Konashenkov of the Russian Ministry of Defense is still claiming that the special military operation is going strictly according to the approved plan. Vladimir Putin is used to getting his own way, and it's fair to say that this is not happening with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. UK intelligence says Russia unlikely to increase its advances. Certainly, assessments from British intelligence seem to support Kasyanov's statement. In its latest report, the Ministry of Defense, MOD, says the Russian campaign in the east of Ukraine has lost momentum and is now significantly behind schedule. Russia has now likely suffered losses of 1/3 of the ground combat force it committed in February. Their forces are increasingly constrained by degraded enabling capabilities, continued low morale, and reduced combat effectiveness. Many of these capabilities cannot be quickly replaced or reconstituted, and are likely to continue to hinder Russian operations in Ukraine. Under the current conditions, Russia is unlikely to dramatically accelerate its rate of advance over the next 30 days. The Kremlin has launched its latest attack in the eastern territories of Ukraine, with Vladimir Putin battling to take control of the entire Donbas region. But Ukraine continues to put up fierce resistance and is currently slowing down Russian troops as they advance from the east. In a letter to a Russian human rights campaigner, Vladimir Osechkin, the agent predicted that Putin's army will fail in achieving its objectives in Donbas. As many as 12,000 troops have been sent from the Chechen Republic to fight alongside Russian forces in Ukraine, according to Russian state TV. But these fighters were not Kadyrov's elite forces but simply Chechen volunteers including law enforcement workers, the agent claimed to Mr. Osechkin. He also predicted that Kadyrov will become the main beneficiary of the military failure of the Russian armed forces. Russians blocked from leaving country if on military register. Volodin, the Speaker of Russia's lower house of parliament, said Thursday that Russians, who have been called up to fight as part of Vladimir Putin's partial mobilization decree aren't allowed to leave their place where they live or go abroad. Volodin said, on his Telegram channel that citizens who are registered with the military are prohibited from leaving their place of residence without the permission of a military commissariat. I draw your attention, according to Federal Law 31 on mobilization training and mobilization in the Russian Federation, citizens who are registered with the military, from the moment the mobilization is announced, are prohibited from leaving their place of residence, without the permission of the military commissariats. Volodin remarks contradict an explanation offered by the Russian Defense Ministry, which has said that mobilization does not impose restrictions on the movement of citizens. Ukraine troops encircling Russian forces as Putin faces major defeat. Ukrainian troops are encircling Russian forces in Lyman, an occupied town in the northeast of the country, as Kyiv presses on with its counteroffensive to recapture seized territory. Maps detailing Ukrainian advance in the region amid a continued counteroffensive show its forces moving north across the Siversky Donets River from areas east and west of town, and east across the Oskol River from positions north of Lyman. Ukrainian forces say they took back more than 3,000 square miles from Russian forces in less than 2 weeks, recapturing towns and cities and cutting off Russian supply lines. Putin responded on September 21 by announcing a partial military mobilization of up to 300,000 citizens, while Russian-installed officials held sham referendums on joining Russia in Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. According to Russia's state-owned RIA Novosti, the reported results included 99.23% in favor in Donetsk and 98.42% in favor in Luhansk, two regions partially under pro-Moscow separatist control since 2014, as well as 93.11% in favor in Zaporizhia and 87.05% in favor in Kherson. The Ukrainian Foreign Ministry referred to the referendums as a propaganda show in a statement shared with Newsweek. Forcing people in these territories to fill out some papers at the barrel of a gun is yet another Russian crime in the course of its aggression against Ukraine, Ukraine's foreign ministry said. Ukraine is pressing on with its counteroffensive, and according to military officials, Ukrainian troops have only 6% of Kharkiv left to liberate. Liberating Kharkiv, the second largest city in Ukraine, near its eastern border with Russia, has been quite difficult because Russia does not retreat. Oleg Singubov, the head of Ukraine's Kharkiv Regional Military Administration, was cited. A conscripted Russian soldier immediately surrenders to Ukraine forces. Russian soldier has surrendered to Ukrainian forces, just days after being deployed to fight under President Vladimir Putin's nationwide partial mobilization, according to an official. Anton Geshenko, advisor to Ukraine's Minister of Internal Affairs, posted a video on his Telegram channel on Tuesday purportedly showing a Russian soldier who was mobilized 5 days ago from the western Rostov region, which borders Ukraine. He said it was the first case of a mobilized soldier surrendering in Ukraine since Putin's September 21 decree. Russia deploys soldiers, armored vehicle to Georgia border amid exodus. Federal Security Service, FSB, has deployed soldiers and an armored personnel carrier to the country's border with Georgia as men attempt to flee Vladimir Putin's partial military mobilization. The FSB has deployed the troops to ensure that reservists do not leave the country without completing border formalities, it said in a statement. Please, if this is your first time on my YouTube channel, kindly like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and click the bell icon to get new video updates.